Right, hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm in my dad's garage again because I looked at my YouTube and it's been about a month and a half. The 8th of October would have been the last trike video that I put up, and sort of life has got in the way. But today we're back here and we're back working on the trike. In that month and a half, my dad has accumulated quite a few bits and pieces to do on the trike. Lots of little niggly bits. You would have seen in the last video, I think, was the one where we were actually driving it. So you know that the engine runs, the trike moves under its own power, which is good. However, there is still a bunch of small little bits and pieces that need doing, things that were sort of picked up on along the way. So he's got hold of most of those, and today that's what we're going to tackle. The first thing we're going to do, because I think we showed this in the last video as well, is one of the wheel nuts on the left hand side is stuck on. We tried to get it with a breaker bar, wouldn't break loose. It just seems to be spinning in its place. So I've brought with me today, wherever I put it, it's in that bag, I brought with me this thing, which is a 1/2 inch impact gun, and we're going to hope, that's the wheel nut there that's stuck on, we're going to hope that this is going to be man enough to get that off today, because we want to check the back brakes, because we checked the other side, the other side is off, but we want to check this side's brakes and make sure that everything's alright, and check that all the seals and stuff are okay as well. So that is the first job of today, and then the other stuff we're just going to sort of move along the list of stuff. This is all laid out here. We've got gearbox oil or axle oil to put in. We've got a thermostat switch thing, a thermostat, what was it, all drain plug, speedo cable, and the front brakes as well need looking at. They're all in there, the calipers and stuff. So we're just going to sort of make our way through this little mound of bits, and hopefully we can get this thing moved along. We've got pretty much most of the day today to do this, so we should have plenty of time. Now Dad's just going to show you or update you on what this wheel nut's doing with a ratchet, just in case you forget. What, the lights are messing with it. Yeah, so you can see that just spins and spins and spins, and it doesn't get any looser than that. So we're hoping that if one of us grabs the wheel and sort of pulls it out and the other one hits it with the impact gun, that we'll be able to crack it loose. I'm going to have to set the camera up somewhere. Ready? Yeah. Alright, so as you can see, the wheel is off. Weird chain of events how that happened. We tried to unloosen it, as you would have seen. I had the camera rolling to begin with. We tried to unloosen it with a gun, just kept spinning and spinning and spinning. So my dad said, why don't you tighten it with the gun and then try and loosen it again. So I went to tighten it with the gun, and straight away, I didn't have the camera rolling, which is a shame. The nut came off and it's just completely stripped it out. The nut is completely stripped out, the threads have come off. But it's off, and the wheel is off, which is sort of was what was meant to happen. And this was the one that was spinning. As you can see, it's just sort of pushed its way back into the drum. So we'll have to address that once the drum's off. But the wheel's off, and that is what we wanted to happen, wasn't it? Quite happy with that. Hey. When we first saw that this happened, that's exactly what I said has happened, isn't it? It's stripped out. We need to figure out what is stripped out, whether it's I don't know. Oh, you got it. Yeah, it just dropped down the bottom. So the splines on the stud itself have completely, what's this, has that got any splines in it still?
No, not that I can
is that, oh no, that's stripped out as well then, is it? Oh yeah, it has. That's an extra job. Yeah, it's stripped out of this, and then the splines in that have stripped out as well, so it looks like you're going to have to find a new hub. Which is not the end of the world, because it's only 4 bolts to take off, but just finding one is going to be the tricky bit. Alright, in case we don't find out until this video goes live, we're trying to figure out, let me get the light, what this axle is, because we need to order a hub for this side, because obviously it's stripped out. So if any of you watching this now know, I might already know while this video goes up, but if I don't, do you know what this axle is from? I'll give you a look at this side as well, because there's no marks, no numbers, no tags or anything, and we kind of need to know to be able to search for that part. We've tried to Google the numbers off the wheel cylinder, but it doesn't seem to come up with anything. So if any of you know, please leave it in the comments. That'd be much helpful. Alright, next job on the list is this, what would you call it? Is it a temperature sensor essentially? It is, isn't it?
Temperature, yeah.
Little temperature sensor, because the needle on the dials doesn't go up when the bike heats up. We tested the old switch, I think, and it doesn't seem to be sending a signal, so we think that this is the culprit. It entails stripping down the trike a little bit. We need to take the tank off and the seat to get to the wiring. And what we think we're going to do, my dad came up with this idea, is we're going to take the wiring off the old one, stick it on this one, and then put this in some like boiling water to make sure that the dial is actually working and it moves up and down, instead of installing it and then figuring out that it still doesn't work. So that's quite a good idea. So we're going to take some of this stuff off, get to the wiring, and then plug this in and quickly test it.
Show that.
Actually, yeah, that shot won't make it.
I'm going to put some electrics on, but I've just disconnected this cable, so that's not good. Otherwise,
is that an earth?
That's an earth for the whole bike,
yeah.
So that'll need to
stick
go
in
back.
there or something.
Need to go back on.
So we've got to the wire, and this is the wire that goes to the temperature sensor. The temperature sensor is located right in there. You see that little sticky out bit where my finger is? That's where it's located, right in where the thermostat housing is. We need to get to the thermostat today anyway, because Dad's bought a new one and it lives in that thing right there. We can just about get to it here. So we're going to wire in the new one, like I said, stick that in some water and see if the dial goes up. It saves us having to start the engine up and get the coolant temperature up and all that sort of stuff. So it's just like a little cheat way of finding out whether we have any more issues, because we want to figure out whether the temperature temperature dial, we want to make sure the temperature dial works, and it's actually like the sensor that's gone wrong. Yeah. My dad's just gone to get some water quickly, so I'm going to chill in here. You see the flickering? It sometimes does that. These LED lights in here don't like the camera very much, or vice versa. It feels good to be working on the trike again. We've got lots of little bits to do today. At the minute, filming this stuff is tricky because it's all sort of niggly bits. Not the most interesting stuff in the world either, but I know some of you really like the trike videos, so I like to film it anyway. Usually I'll just come around here and these little bits we'll just do off camera, but I figured a lot of you, it's been a while since we did a trike video, and I know a lot of you like the trike stuff, so hopefully you enjoy this video as well. And there, if you get any lights come up. Hey, got lights on the dash. He's got his mug of water, got some boiling water. He's going to dip it. We should see the needle go up, shouldn't we?
Hope so, yeah. I'm hoping with a worry.
Yeah, you didn't think it'd take long because that water is sort of boiling hot, isn't it? It should sort of shoot up straight away, really, shouldn't it? Providing it's...
Oh.
What?
It might need to be earthed.
I was going to say, does it ground out on the casing, does it?
It does, doesn't it?
Right, this is the setup. I've got it holding it on the ground. Dad's grounding it out and stick it in the water. So hopefully we should see it go up. Yep, we're moving. Hee. So it was the sensor that was bad.
Good.
Yeah, we're climbing. Yeah, I guess that's all we need, isn't it? That's pretty certified that is the issue. Oh, I'm good. I'm glad about that.
Yeah, me too. So we can fit that with some confidence now.
Yep. Right, next up we've got a genuine Honda thermostat. This is the O-ring as well. That's the part number in case for some reason you're doing this yourself. What is the reason with changing the thermostat again?
Doesn't have one.
Oh, it doesn't have. Oh yeah, that's a good point. When we had this engine all stripped apart, we obviously took that off, and we noticed that the bike doesn't even have a thermostat in it. That's why we've got a new one. I think this is all the way from America, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep, all the way from the US of A. So we're now going to fit that. It's quite awkward to get to. It's right in there. Alright, there's, I don't know how we can see in there, but that's where the thermostat's going to sit, in that little pool of water. There's the cap. We're not going to replace the O-ring because this one doesn't leak, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. So Dad's just going to go ahead and stick it in there. Looks good. It's a little bit of a pain to get to. We had to move the ignition module thing out of the way, but we got there. So this is the new and the old temperature sensor switch. Other than this one being a bit grimy, there's not a lot of difference, and you can't see anything visual wrong with it. Obviously whatever's happened has happened inside it, I guess. But we're going to stick this one in now. Dad's got his finger on the bit where it goes in so we don't lose all the water. Should I just have to quickly...
Yeah, you're going to have to just say, you know.
Alright, let me get in the position. Alright then, good.
3, 2.
It's got an O-ring on it, I think, hasn't it? So it seals. Is that a proper Honda part again?
Yeah.
From America?
No, that one.
Oh. Right, so we've got the cooling system all buttoned up now. The new thermostat is in. The new sensor is in for the temperature, and that all works, as you see. There we go. You can't see any different from when we started, but take our word for it, that has all been changed, so that should all work now as it should. We are now going to tackle this drain plug. The drain plug for the oil has been leaking. You can see there's tissues down here completely soaked in oil. That drain plug just there, that one, is constantly sort of dripping. You can see it on my finger there. So my dad's bought a new one, I think from Honda again. Bought a new one, it's over here somewhere. New bolt, and it comes with 2 new washers as well, so hopefully that will fix that issue. Okay, lunch is done, we are back now. We're now going to do the oil. As I said before, the oil sump plug is leaking, so we've got a replacement. We've got a replacement crush washer as well. Crush washer, that's hard to say that. Crush washer as well. We're going to drain the oil into a container, a clean container, change the plug out, and then just put the oil back in the engine because it's brand new oil, so we don't really want to waste it. Whilst we were having lunch, before we had lunch, when we first took the wheel off this thing, I asked you if you know what this axle is. We've actually found out whilst we're eating lunch that we know what it is. It's off a Mark II Escort. Thanks to the people on Instagram that told me what it was. But it's from a Mark II Escort, so we know which parts we need now to get a new half shaft, as we've also found out that's what it's called. This hub is connected to a half shaft that goes all the way up to the differential in the middle. So we've ordered some more of them, so we'll be swapping this side out, and we'll also do the seals as well, both sides while we're at it. So yeah, just thought I'd update you on the axle because I did ask you earlier if you could tell me what it is, but I know what it is now. After you, you know what size it is?
Nope.
Here is the old sump plug, and it didn't even have a washer on it. There's no washer on here. It's not stuck on the engine, so that probably explained why it was leaking. Here is the new sump plug. It's got a magnet on it, this one, which is handy if it collects any little piece of metal. Yep.
What was that lump?
Was there one?
Something went dink.
Yeah, hang on. Got right close to my finger then. Right, so whilst I'm at my dad's, I figured I would take this time to update you on his vehicles, because I always get questions about his cars, the Mondeo especially, but also the Mini. Everyone always asks me how the car's getting on, because I have shown them on the channel before, especially the Mondeo with like done injectors and stuff and that on it. And people always ask me how it's now doing since doing that, so I figured I'd show you how they're doing. They're all still here. The Mondeo is right here. We're now about to change a headlight bulb on it, not do any serious work. My dad's just got a headlight bulb on the other side. The Mini is also still here, as you can see. This is like my dad's car to take to work, like his little runabout. Obviously the Mondeo is still here. They both still run fine. This passed an MOT not too long ago actually, like a month or two ago, that passed an MOT. And this thing's been running fine ever since we did the injectors and stuff. Had no issues, no running issues or anything like that. So just thought I'd update you. Both the cars are absolutely fine. Okay, so we're about to do some cutting for the first time on the Trike. This is the first time we're actually going to tackle some like fabrication. Up to now it's been mostly mechanical stuff, so we're moving on to the fabrication side of it, which is quite cool. This grate, or this piece of metal that you see on the back, was on the Trike when you got it. This is what the top box sits on right here. But, I don't know if you can see this, how it mounts at the minute. There's like a gap here and it kind of looks a bit ugly. So what we plan to do, I don't know if you can see this line on here, this black line here, we're going to cut this piece of metal out and then along here so that it sits around the seat, and then this will be flush with this, we're hoping. These are a couple of bars that my dad's friend at work made, that's for it to mount onto. So we're going to cut this out with an angle grinder, hopefully move this up so it sits flush, and it'll sit a bit more tidy. I think it'll look a lot neater once that's tucked up, and we're hoping to get it sit quite nicely around the seat. So, time to whip the angle grinder out and see if we can get this cut out. Right, I've cut out this section from the plate, as you can see, and we also had to nick out these little corners here. It now fits on here just right. This is what's going to sit on these metal bars. We didn't cut it out with the grinder in the end because we weren't sure if it's galvanized or not. We don't think it is, but we ended up using a hacksaw thing instead. But that's now cut out. We're now about to drill the holes to mount these to the frame, because that's what that is going to sit on. They're going to go about there, something like that. Okay, so we've got the mounting block holes drilled out. As you can see, we've got the bolts sitting in there. That's how they're going to sit. We're going to bolt these sort of straight through and have a nut on the outside, like a lock nut on the other side. And then these holes here, these little black dots, one there, one there. We're going to drill them out, tap them as well, so that we can put bolts through this into that, and obviously screw them in and tighten that down. That'll sit nicely around the seat, how we've cut it out. And that'll also sit nicely around the frame, and it should look a lot cleaner than it did before. We haven't done anything else to that, have we? Do you want to stick that on, shall we? So you can see it. So that is roughly how it's going to sit. You can see the holes there line up with those holes. And that is about how it's going to sit, like that. We might tidy up a few of the edges and stuff. It's a little bit sharp still, but as it goes, that looks a lot cleaner. It's now flush with this frame at the front, which was the main thing that was annoying us. There was a big gap here, but now that that's flush, bear in mind that this is going to have all new, what are they called? Wheel arches? Mud guards, wheel arches. It's going to have some brand new ones, much bigger and much more substantial than these things here. So you won't really see this edge too much anyway, because they'll sort of come over here and cover most of that. But as it goes, we're not much as when it comes to fabricators. It's not our sort of forte, but I don't think that looks too bad. So we've done about all we can do with the like styling of the trike today. The things we need to do, we need to get some stuff made, and we need to order some brackets and stuff like that. So it is going to be as it is today. So what we're doing is my dad's now taken out one of the half shafts from this side, because we need to order some oil seals for them, but we'd rather see what they look like. We want to be able to compare them to the new ones that we order, so we don't order the wrong thing basically. So he's currently just undoing the bolts to that. Pull one out, because we've got some new ones coming anyway, so they need to come out regardless. Pull them out, look what the seal is, and then we can order the correct ones for it. Oh, the camera's a bit dirty. Also, just on a side note, just tried these Brussels sprouts Walker's crisps. Recommend. A little bit odd. You actually have to like Brussels sprouts to eat them, but they're quite nice. Right, it's got the 4 bolts out just down there. You're gonna try and just pull it out. I guess that's what's gonna happen. You might lose a bit of oil, I'm not sure. No, you're right. Ooh. So where does the actual seal live then? Is that it? Oh, that's the bearing, is it? So the seal that we need is that one right there. So you can see the number on it. There's a bunch of grease and all horribleness. That's where the bearing sits. That's sort of what it looks like, just in case you wondered. And these are called half shafts. We learned that today. I thought that was just a hub, but it's actually a whole shaft that goes straight in all the way down into the differential, whatever you call it. So we're going to be replacing those seals, I think. So we're going to have to order some and order a tool to be able to get them out, because we don't know how to get them out. So I think in the last clip I said that we weren't doing any more fabrication today. That has changed. We have decided that we are going to attempt to make some foot plates for right here. These are the nasty old ones. You can see where the battery's been sitting. These are absolutely no good, but we are going to use them as a template. My dad has picked up some of this aluminium, what's it called? It's got a special name in it. Like, yeah, it has that this stuff. My dad's picked up a couple of sheets of this, so we're going to make one for each side out of this. It's going to be a massive improvement, because if you think that is now going to look like this instead of this, that should look really good. So we're going to mark around it and then cut it out. We're going to add a little extra lip at the front here, because it was just a little bit too short, this one. Add about that much on the front, cut it out, drill the holes, and hopefully we can fit it exactly where the old one was, and that should make a massive improvement to how the bike looks, trike looks even.
So there's quite a bit of filing to do, but this is how it's come out. Just use the jigsaw down there to cut it out. Dad did a really good job of it actually. Just need to file all these horrible little bears that are there. But as a shape, that looks pretty good. It's gonna look good on there.
Okay, so after 2 hours of cutting, grinding, filing, all sorts of stuff, and drilling holes, we finally have made the very first footplate for the trike. Lots of these sort of things, like fabricating stuff, is a lot of fine tuning and making it work and all that sort of stuff. But here it is. I'll try and get in there so you can see it. Ta-da! Looks good on the camera as well. So this, can you show the before? Where's the before one? I think I did show it earlier, but let's just get a comparison. Stick that, like, just put it sort of down near it. So here is the before. This is what it looked like when we got it, and this is how it looks now. That aluminium sort of shiny, I keep forgetting the name of this stuff, but it's nice and grippy. And we've also put a little black trim around the outside. We've bolted it down, as you can see, bolts all around, and that looks real clean. That's our first piece of like proper fabrication on this trike, and it looks really good. We're going to do the other side, but we're not going to do it right now because that took us 2 hours to do that. And just like that, I am back home in my own shed. I completely forgot to film an outro at my dad's. We stood there for 5 minutes admiring our handiwork on that footplate. Completely forgot to film anymore. Had our tea and then we called it a night after that. I hope you guys enjoy these trike videos. I know they're not as popular as my car stuff, but I really do enjoy doing them. Really enjoy filming them. And it's really good to watch back how far the trike has come along since the first time we got it. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on the notifications if you want to get notified when my videos go live. If you want to support the channel, there's a link down in the description where you can buy hoodies, t-shirts and stickers. I will see you guys in the next one.